Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. It's me, Shannon LaBruyere. I am live and loving it tonight. Welcome to Sunday Night Live, where we dig into the principles that allow us to thrive in change. The changes we want, and the changes that we didn't ask for, but we got them anyway. I'm here to tell you we can thrive in the midst of all manner of change, but we have to learn the principles that make it happen. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So welcome. Thank you everybody for being here. Give a hello or a thumbs up or a shout out or something if you're tuning in. Let us know you're here, where you're from. Hey, Denise, glad you're here. You're the first one to comment. Thank you. Glad to have you. This is going to be a great night because we are going to talk about something that in the midst of a pandemic sometimes comes to mind. And it's this idea of, is this ever going to end? Hi, Tammy. Hi, Kelly. Ooh, Tammy, Ron, Courtney, Abby, and David. Welcome, all of you. I love that. That's fantastic. Really great. And Kelly, glad you're here. This is awesome. So before we get started, let's talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor for Sunday Night Live is Thumb Roast Coffee. And now is a perfect time to visit thumbroastcoffee.com, buy a bag or a few bags of the best coffee I've ever drunk. It is delicious. And get 15% off by using the discount code THRIVE, THRIVE. Missy Bobo and her crew will get you set up with something pretty awesome, pretty delicious. I'm so glad that they believe that the message of Sunday Night Live is worth linking their brand to. And I am proud as punch to be able to recommend that coffee because it's fantastic. So go to thumbroastcoffee.com, type in Thrive, you'll get 15% off, and you will thank me later. It's wonderful stuff. All right, so tonight's hashtag is, and I had such a trouble picking one, but I am going to pick one, and it is this: trust the process. Sometimes there's a process at work that we don't even recognize, and we're going to explore that a little bit tonight. So even if we don't know the process happens, we can understand it, and then we can learn to lean into it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the process that we can use when something feels like it's going on forever, some of the traps we fall into, the stories we tell ourselves that don't serve us well. Right? So that's going to be one of the first things we talk about, is some of the stories we tell ourselves that don't serve us well. But this is what I want you to know, that tonight you are going to learn a couple of things that when you start applying them, not just in the pandemic situation, when you start applying them in your job, in your relationships, in your world, in your lifestyle, you are going to see an amazing transformation. So stay tuned, get your pen and pencil ready. Oh, hi, Linda. I'm glad you're here. I miss you too. Linda, one of my compatriots from back in the United States Postal Service. Welcome. I'm glad to have you. All right, so let's get started. I read this book and I highly recommend it, and I will put it in the show notes or in the comments when we're done tonight, so that if you're interested in it, you can maybe check it out from the library or you can get it on Amazon. It's a great book. And the title of the book is called When. When, and it's by Daniel Pink, like the color. When, by Daniel Pink. And this was such an illuminating book because the whole focus of it talks about how humans respond to our sense of timing, how our sense of timing triggers certain behaviors, certain attitudes in our brains, and we end up making decisions based on what time we're making them. So, for example, when we make decisions after a long day of work, maybe you've made a lot of decisions at work. Have you ever been there? And now you've spent all day, making important decisions at work, trying to keep things on track, trying to keep everything from going off the rails, trying to keep customers happy, trying to get your team motivated. You've made a lot of decisions. And then as you're driving home, you realize I don't have any idea what we're going to have for dinner, and I can't think of a thing. Anybody else have that happen to you? That you can't even think about dinner. You've made so many decisions all day that you can't think about dinner. This is a real thing. It's called decision exhaustion. And somewhere in the archives, we have a Sunday Night Live that talks about decision exhaustion. So we're not going to spend too much time on it here. But the timing of when we make decisions matters. So if we have to make a really important, oh, Corinne says, it is the story of my life. Carol says, been there. Corinne, yes, amen, sister. I don't know what we're going to have for dinner. Well, this is a freebie. This isn't even on our agenda, but I'm just going to throw this in there for you guys. The key to knowing what's for dinner is to plan what's for dinner when you're not exhausted. So sometime before you've made the million decisions where you're just trying to keep everybody clothed and bathed and alive, sometime when you've got a little bit of energy, sit down and make that menu out, make a list. And it's going to help you, I promise. Because then all you have to do is look and say, oh, it's Tuesday, we're having hamburgers. Oh, it's Tuesday, we're having tacos. That would be better, right? So that was a freebie. But what that idea of when we make the decision matters. We make better decisions when we're not tired. You've been there, right? So what do we do? What do we do when we think there's no end in sight? We're getting exhausted. We feel the strain. A lot of the unknowns, they're starting to wear on us as a culture, right? They're starting to wear on us. In Michigan, we've got a new set of restrictions, and that's frustrating. Whether we believe that they're necessary or not, even if we think they're really necessary, it can still be frustrating, right? So it's not that we don't know that things maybe have to happen, and that's not just in a pandemic. That's at any time. What matters is that we feel exhausted by the fact that we don't know when it's ending. And this is the thing. We can't control endings. That might be something you write down. We can't control endings. We can't make this health issue just abruptly stop. We can't make some of the challenges in our lives just stop. We can't make some of the changes that come to us without invitation. We can't always make them stop. The ones we can, by all means, stop them, right? That's within your control. But those ones where it just is going on forever and we don't have the power to stop them, I just want you to know that you can let go of the need to end it. What I want you to focus on is the beginnings. All right, so Kelly says this, maybe if we know when things are going to end, we could deal better, right? That's science. When we know when something's going to end, we have a better idea of how to pace ourselves. They did studies in construction zones. They did studies where they would have, say, a 50-mile long construction zone, and they would survey somebody at the beginning and they would survey somebody at the end. And what they found was when they told people that it was 50 miles long, people felt better about it because they knew what to expect, right, Kelly? When they told them midway, hey, you guys, you're halfway through, it's going to be great, you can make it, everybody felt better. They had that oomph. Have you ever run a marathon? I have not. Full disclosure, running a marathon has never been on my bucket list. But you know how long it's going to last. Things like this pandemic, things like other kinds of changes that come at us, grief would be one of them, the death of a loved one, we don't know how long they're going to last. We don't know if they'll ever stop. And that drains us. That absolutely drains us. Ooh, a woman in labor. What a great example, Kelly. Yes, a woman in labor. You know it's going to end eventually, right? You know it can't last forever. But you don't know exactly when it's going to end. And that's hard. It is draining. So I just want you to think about this. You can't always control when something ends, but you can control your beginnings. And the way you begin things matter. So this is what got me thinking about this. So hang with me here. You might have seen this on social media. You probably have talked with people at your job, in your family. And this is what got me started thinking about this. I cannot wait until this year is over. How many times have you heard that? I have heard it at least, I'm going to say at least 25 times. At least 25 times in the last month, I have heard somebody somewhere say, I cannot wait until this year is over. Now, this is something that we fool ourselves into thinking we're making it better, but we're making it worse. All right. So if you've said that, it's okay. It's okay. I get it. But it's not the year that's the issue. It's the issue that's the issue. And this is the thing we need to understand. When we don't know when something's going to end, we can intentionally choose to resist the temptation to assign it an endpoint ourselves. That's what's happening with so many people. They're looking at all of the things that have been going on in 2020, and there have been a lot of unpleasant things that have happened in our world, right? But the solution is not to say when 2021 hits, it's going to be a new day, because that's not necessarily going to happen. It gives us a false sense of security because we want to assign an end to it. A lot of times we have to take a look at that and say, all right, I can't know when the end is, but I can know how to start. And we're going to talk about that. Let's see what Carol has to say. She says, during this pandemic, a lot of times have been hard, but you've encouraged us to try something good so that we are not discouraged, and it has been a lot of help. Carol, that speaks directly, and Kelly says it, this pandemic isn't going away on January 1st. Exactly. So, Carol, what you said, what we talk about here on Sunday Night Live, absolutely crucial for us to be able to run this race, no matter how long this race lasts. We cannot arbitrarily think it's going to abruptly end when 2021 gets here and the new day dawns. It's not going to happen like that. But we can choose to start looking at the things that are within our control and making them better. We can begin having impact on the things that we can control. And I'm going to talk a little bit now about what that often looks like and what choices it leaves us with. All right, so have you ever started a diet? I have started many. I don't like to call them diets. And usually, to be honest, they're not diets. I don't go on diets. I don't go on the keto diet or the low carb diet or I tend to look at my eating as a giant kind of amorphous. It's just kind of, I eat a lot of things. And so how can I sort of make those things be a little bit better? That's how I approach dieting. I try to make the things I'm choosing a little bit better. And if each one of them's better, I feel like the whole thing's going to get better. So that's how I approach a diet. But this is how I do it. In the past, I'm going to start a diet on Monday morning. Don't you love starting a diet on Monday morning? Come Monday. So that means we can party all weekend, eat whatever we want. And then come Monday morning, whew, I am going to hit the ground running. I am going to start strong. So I get up Monday morning and I eat some fruit. I have some yogurt. I have some nuts. Maybe I have a healthy muffin that's filled with lots of delicious things that are going to sustain me, some protein, good stuff. I do great and it feels so good. And then for lunch, I'm on the road and I give in to the siren call of the Golden Arches. And I pull into the McDonald's drive-thru and I get a double cheeseburger, a large fry, and a large Diet Coke. I mean, come on, people. Blow it. I blow my diet. I started strong. Monday morning, hit it. Great. Monday afternoon, totally blew it. And this is what we tend to do because our brains love to start at the beginning of something. We like to start at the beginning of something. And so the idea of starting a diet at the beginning of a week sounds great. And so we spend the next 6.5 days, I've done this, eating garbage, waiting for Monday to come so that we can start our diet again. Waiting for Monday to come so we can start our diet again. 6.5 days. We could have been doing a little better, but there was something about starting on a Monday that felt good. So I want you to notice that in your life. When do you like to start things? Do you like to start things on the first of the month? Do you like to start things on the first day of the week? When do you like to start things? Because you're going to be drawn to start things on a certain day. It's just how we're wired. People love to start things. We love to start things at the beginning of a fill in the blank. But this is the thing. This is the important thing I want you to know as we're going through this pandemic. If you're waiting until the first day of 2021 to start living, you are going to waste all the remaining days of 2020. You will discount all of the good that has happened, even in the midst of the bad. You will discount all of the good that happened in January and February and a part of March here in the United States. And then the pandemic was announced and everything hit the fan. Those things happened. Those good things happened. And they were in this space of time we call 2020. If you throw out all of 2020 and decide that you're going to have your fresh start be 2021, I have 2 words of warning. One of them is this: you will waste the remaining days of 2020, the remaining opportunity you have to have some joy, have some connection, find some happiness. It's here now for you. You get to choose it. And if you're waiting for 2021 for all of the joy to happen, for all of the shifts to occur, the other warning I have for you is this. Like Kelly said so succinctly, it's not going away on January 1st. We have to decide when we want our beginnings. So, Linda, I love this. Linda said, we're talking about how you have to make the most of where we're at, right? Start something new that you can control now, even if you can't control the pandemic. Linda jumped out of an airplane this year, definitely out of your comfort zone. And congratulations, that's amazing. And she says later, she did it on the spur of the moment. I didn't plan it. Circumstances were right. I don't know. I made the choice, she says. I made the choice. I don't know what the circumstances need to be for you to decide to jump out of an airplane. Linda, you're living life in the short run here, right? What's in front of me? What can I do? I love that because that's speaking to something that we're going to explore a little bit more. Think about this. If you think about your life in terms of years, if you wait until 2021, we love those New Year's resolutions, right? We love them. And we know the success rate on New Year's resolutions stinks. It really does. People just don't tend to follow through on them. They don't live very long with that rule hanging over their head. The magic, the promise of something new on January 1st of a new year is so energizing, but it's not enough to sustain us for 365 days. So we've experienced that. So when we think in terms of years, you get, let's say 80 years. You're going to live to be 80 years old. If you think in terms of years, you get 80 chances to make it right. Oh, I guess we'll go next year. We didn't do that this year, so I guess we'll do it next year. Didn't get together with the family, didn't make the effort to connect with my son that we've been estranged, didn't fill in the blank, didn't do it this year, so I guess I'll do it in 2021. You'll only get to do that 80 times. You'll get 80 chances at a fresh start when you think of your life in terms of years. 2021 is a year. Stink, stank, stunk was one of the Christmas ornaments I saw with the Grinch, holding his little green hand. And it was a clever ornament. I laughed at it. It's funny, but it also isn't. It's not the mindset that's going to bring us success. All of 2020 has not been a waste. If we don't recognize that while we're in the midst of it, we will be wasting one of only 80 chances to have something be good. Don't throw it out. But what happens if you start thinking in terms of weeks? If you start thinking in terms of weeks, and here, I did this math without a calculator, and before I tell you the number, so what's 82 times, or what's 80 times 52 weeks? 4,160. If we think in terms of weeks, like we start our diets every Monday, right? We get 4,160 Mondays to start fresh. Sounds a little better than starting fresh once a year. You don't decide to be healthy just one day a year, right? What if you decide to start fresh next Monday? What if you start fresh tomorrow and that diet doesn't work out or that commitment doesn't work out? You can always do it next Monday. And in the course of an 80-year life, you'll have 4,160 opportunities to start on a Monday. But watch what happens. When you start deciding that you're not going to wait until next year to have something good happen, to see something positive, to grow, to change, to reach out and touch somebody, to shift and pivot what you're doing so that you can have more impact and be more effective. When you decide not to wait until next year to do it, when we think in terms of days, in an 80-year life, 29,200 chances to start something good. 29,200 chances to start fresh, to start over, to start with a new mindset. And then when the sun sets and you reflect on your day and maybe it hasn't been great, guess what? Tomorrow you can start fresh. Don't wait until 2021 to turn your page. If you're my age, you've got over 8,400 fresh starts left. 8,400 opportunities to make something better, to have an impact, to make a connection, to show love, to be an encouragement. Don't wait until 2021 to start making your difference. Some of you have written off 2020. There's still plenty of time left. Are you going to live your life once a year, once a year, once a year, once a year? Maybe 80 opportunities to do that thing? Or are you going to give yourself 29,200 chances to start something fresh? The key is in the fresh start. That's what Daniel Pink's book, When, teaches us. The key is in the fresh start. Let's see what you guys are saying about this. When it is dark, look for the stars, Kelly says. Yes, there's a positive. Is it dark? It absolutely is. That's reality, right? I told you guys I was struggling about which hashtag to use. Did I want to use trust the process or respect the now? And I went with trust the process because this process of looking at each day as a new opportunity is huge. Yeah, this old saying, tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life. Yeah. We have to live it that way if we're going to be resilient and thrive and change. When we wait for things to settle down and we have no idea when they're going to settle down, we're in this endless holding pattern. It drains us. When we are undecided, it takes energy for us to stay in that state of indecision. But once we decide, we are able to take that energy, the energy that we had spent trying to manage the uncertainty, and we can decide to do something. And now we've begun certainty, even though there's uncertainty everywhere else. And Linda, thank you for saying that. I was trying to think of the song that talks about how many minutes there are in a day or a week or something, and it comes from the musical Rent. So now I'm going to have to go in search of that. Thank you. Perfect. Was looking for that. It's true. It is absolutely true. We can start every day. My favorite book says that God's mercies are new for us every morning. No matter how horrible today was, tomorrow when I wake up, it's a new day, a fresh start. And we can start embracing that. Don't write off 2020 as a waste. Tomorrow's a new day. A friend of mine lost her husband, I believe it's 72 days ago today. She lost her husband, and she posted something so powerful and so profound today. And it was just a reminder of how valuable this idea is, that we can begin and create our own certainty without knowing the big picture, because we can't know the big picture. And she said this, she said that she cannot bear to look at months and years without her husband. She can't even bear to look at that, but she can bear to look at the next hour. And so her fresh start happens hour by hour by hour, this hour, with the burden that I'm bearing. This hour, with the burden you're bearing, what am I going to do with it? Because I only need to worry about getting past this hour. Maybe that hour is I'm going to get up and I'm going to get showered, and it's successful. It's a win, and you're moving, and you haven't written off your life. You're moving. Sometimes it's minute by minute, if I can just get past this minute. Eventually, especially when we're in the throes of something like great pain or grief, it is a minute by minute thing, but we start getting to where it can be hour by hour, and then it's day by day, and we can start seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I want you to know that no matter what happens on January 1st, 2021, there is hope for you, because you get to choose every day starting now to make a difference, start something fresh that's going to have a positive impact. You can choose now to start something that you can also be in charge of finishing. When everything else is out of your control, you can look at yourself and say, all right, how am I going to treat this? Am I going to hold my breath for the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks? And then when 2021 hits, decide, yes, it's going to be amazing. Or am I going to get up tomorrow morning and say, it's a new day, and I need to get through today doing something good, moving forward with my dreams, all of that important, only you can do it stuff that's going to make your life better, your family's life better, the life of the people you serve better, whether you serve them through a business or you serve them in a ministry. You get to make those choices. You get to make those choices. There is hope. Love that. There is hope. There is hope, you guys. We're coming up on Thanksgiving week. I am so grateful that you meet with me here, that you share your heart with me, that you take the principles that we explore and you apply them. And I really love it when you share with me how they brought you success. So if you are spending some time thinking about gratitude this week, if you think of something that you've learned here that's helped you grow or change, I'd love it if you'd share it. Just share it. You can post it in the comments. You can put it on my Thrive and Change page. You can send me a direct message. But if you've been impacted by the principles that we talk about here on Sunday Night Live, on the Thrive and Change podcast, if you've done that, you're thinking about it, let me know how it's helped. That feeds my soul, but it'll also feed your soul, because I guarantee that you are growing. Even if you haven't noticed it, you are growing. Take a minute and reflect. Be grateful for how far you've come. It's awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your comments. I wish you a wonderful, blessed, content Thanksgiving. And I just want you to know you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of opportunities left to start fresh. Start using them. Don't burn them up. Don't wait. Take care. Mwah. I love you. Bye.